We are back, like Lamar Jackson claiming another AFC Player of the Week award. And as the Ravens get ready on this Purple Friday to play the Minnesota Vikings on Sunday, and while there has been some new players to the team, there are players that have departed. And one former Raven sounds off about his dismissal from this team. Plus, one of these coaches is back to his old tricks. All this and more coming up now. But first, let's get it. So here we are on this Purple Friday. The trade deadline is passed. The Ravens currently sit at 3-5 and prepare themselves to take on the Minnesota Vikings this Sunday. So with all the comings and goings of the trade deadline, the Ravens resurgence, we sit back and take a look at the week that it was. And during the past week, Lamar Jackson returned to action against the Miami Dolphins last Thursday. During this game, Lamar Jackson went 18 of 23 for 204 yards and 4 passing touchdowns. Now, if he'd have got a lot better protection, he may have gotten us another Jackson 5 or maybe a Jackson 6. Shout out to Randy Jackson. He also added a 143.2 QBR to help maintain his leading 136.7. We all knew that when Lamar Jackson came back, this Ravens team had an opportunity to go on a run and make a playoff push. But we thought that with the trade deadline upon us, the Ravens were going to make a lot of moves to make this team a lot better. Now, I know a lot of us didn't think that they were going to mortgage the future to bring this team up in the present, but we thought that there were going to be some moves made that made the Ravens a lot better. And adding to the deal of trading Dre'mont Jones, they traded Jair Alexander, they traded Odafe Owe. So all of this is a collection. So to me, this team got worse, but for some reason, they seem a lot better. Over the last 3 weeks, the Baltimore Ravens lead the league in points per game given up defensively. Now, a lot of that may have to do with the level of competition that they played. Some people think it has to do with the trade for Alohi Gilman. Others believe it is Kyle Hamilton going back to his Swiss Army knife tactics. But whatever reason it may be, can the Ravens maintain this standard for the rest of the season? Some people think that the Ravens are not going to lose another game until they reach the playoffs. Some people think that they are going to lose a game or two and maybe miss out. But the question is, did the Ravens do enough to bolster this roster? In my opinion, personally, they did not. Now, granted, Dre'mont Jones has 4.5 sacks over his last 4 games, and that leads the Ravens currently. But right now, the Ravens are very thin at outside linebacker. And some may say that they're thin on the defensive line, with Nande Madubuike being out for the season and Broderick Washington being on IR. So it was very surprising during the press conference when Zachary Orr decided to tell everybody, yeah, we're going to use Jones a little bit more inside than he's used to at Tennessee. Here we go again. The defensive coordinator not understanding how to utilize his players. We are already thin, like I said, at outside linebacker. You're going to kick this man inside and possibly stunt any kind of momentum that he had over the last 4 games. And we all know ultimately he's going to drop him back in coverage. He's going to do some things that doesn't best utilize his skill set. We've seen this with many Ravens players this season, playing that soft zone, putting guys in position to fail, play in, drive out. And with this reason alone, it tells many Ravens fans, we ain't ready for prime time. This team is not serious about winning. What is Zach Orr doing as a coach? Okay, it's time for an ad break. We have a special going on till the end of time. You can subscribe to the Rogue Pod YouTube channel for the low price of free. And that's not all. You can like and comment to celebrate your new purchase. It helps YouTube and the algorithm know that you enjoy that new channel smell. So hit that button and join today. Conversely, we have to go to Minnesota and play a defensive mastermind. We have to go up against a Brian Flores, who at one point in time shut Lamar down. Now, Lamar is miles ahead of where he was back in 2021. But if you just compare and contrast the level of coaching, the resumes of these two coaches, you can see why Minnesota hired Brian Flores and scratch your head as why Zach Orr is still our defensive coordinator. Don't let these last 3 weeks fool you. We had the same thing happen last season. The Ravens, after week 10, went on a run where their defense looked like the best in the NFL. And then once the Ravens made it to the playoffs, what happened? They were exposed because they weren't as good as we thought they were, because they went up against a playoff caliber type team, not one of these weak sisters of the poor, and could not hold their own. So could this be a repeat of last season, especially with the Ravens not making moves? And I understand you don't want to give up a first, a second, and a player for Quinnen Williams, but there were other guys out there possibly to be had on this defensive line. Now we have to finish out the season with an off-injured Travis Jones, a Brent Urban, and we're not even playing one of our promising rookies in Aeneas Peebles. So instead, we just kick Dre'mont inside and hope for the best. We don't have that guy in the playoffs that can win one-on-one matchups, and this thing has killed us over the last 7 years. So for me, it is what it is. I've given up hope because this coaching staff has not learned their lesson. How many times are you going to bang your head on the wall before you decide to walk through the opening? Apparently for them, this is just not enough. And with some other roster news, the Ravens cut Sanusi Kane to bring Keandre Jackson up from the practice squad to the 53-man roster. And of course, Kane returned to the team on the practice squad because he passed through waivers. Nobody in the NFL wanted an EDC pick, so Sanusi Kane is a part of this team once again. But a guy who is not a part of this team is Jaire Alexander, who was traded to the Philadelphia Eagles. Now, he spoke to the media and they asked him, "What do you think went wrong in Baltimore?" And his response was, "I just believe that they wanted to play other players. They wanted to get younger, get some other guys experience." Now, I think two things can be true at one time. I think that Jaire may have not been 100% healthy, but I do think that he may have possibly been in John Harbaugh's doghouse. We've seen enough and had enough evidence to know when John Harbaugh does not like a guy, they do not play, no matter if they are the most talented person at that position. John Harbaugh's ego gets ahead of this team and is placed before winning. So now Jaire has an opportunity to go to a currently winning organization and possibly go to a Super Bowl, while the Ravens will just have to make do with the players that they have. So as of right now, that just leaves Nate Wiggins as our number one corner. And he has a challenging task this Sunday going up against a Justin Jefferson. And if he doesn't travel with Justin Jefferson this full game, he has to deal with Jordan Addison, which isn't easy in its own right. This is a game that we could have used Jaire Alexander because he, being from Green Bay, has gone up against these players numerous times. And whatever happens during this game happens because this is the iteration of the 2025 Baltimore Ravens. Unless they find somebody that gets cut, unless they find somebody that's off the street that maybe can still play, this is the team that we have to roll with. And if the Ravens win this Sunday, they will get to 5-4, one game below 500 before they take on the New York Jets, which a lot of people believe is a guaranteed win, especially even before the Jets did what they did during the trade deadline. They were a team that just won their first game and hasn't looked good offensively. Now you traded your best defensive tackle, you traded your best cornerback, and this team seems devoid of leadership. So if the Ravens can win this game and get to one game below, we possibly next week can get to 500 and see where this season goes from here. So if you like what I'm doing over here, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe, turn on your notification button so you are aware when I come out with new videos. Yolanda and I will be back on Sunday to live stream this game. And hopefully it is a dub for the Ravens. But if it isn't, we will regroup, recoup, and go on from there. So until next time, it's your boy.